So, as we don't have that much time, I'm going to start, hoping people will come very shortly. So hi again, welcome to the How to Integrate Ecological Issues into Accounting and Management Control courses workshop. It's a little bit long name. I'm very pleased to welcome with us Alexandre Rambaud, Senior Lecturer at AgroParisTech-CIRED and Associate Researchers at Paris-Dauphine University, and Nicolas Antheaume, Professor at IAE Nantes. Can you hear me, Alexandre and Nicolas?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. All good.
Great. So each one of you has integrated ecological issues in its teaching, and you have kindly accepted to share a course you have either created or transformed integrating this issue. Our interest today is the process you have followed, the difficulty, resources you found. In short, everything that can help your colleagues to follow the same path. So as we don't have much time, I suggest you each take 10 minutes to do so, and to allow some also a 10 minutes question period at the end. So I'm sorry in advance, I may have to interrupt you as we have a very tight schedule. So I don't know who wants to start. Alexandre, maybe. We can't hear you.
Yes.
Super.
Yes. Perfect. So I can share some slides. So thank you very much for this invitation to talk about this this type of issues. Well, I represent transformation of a course. So the context is the one of AgroParisTech, which is the French Institute of Technology for Life, Food and Environmental Sciences. And I will focus on a main example, which is the first year course in accounting. It's a common course. Oh, problem with sound.
Please, everybody can cut the microphone so we can hear Alexandre better. Thank you very much.
And so it's so I, as AgroParisTech is a grande école for engineers. It's an engineering training, and I will also give, but only some elements for two other courses, which is a small introduction to financial analysis, which is also a common core engineering training. And some element for the preparation today of a whole course. It's a kind of order for business school to complete restructure and today's course in accounting and financial analysis to go to a course which will be entitled Accounting and Performance Analysis in Today's World. So which will be completely integrated between financial, social, and environmental issues. So, well, if I focus on this example, so this course, when I got it, it was in 2016. It was a common accounting course with specific notion in farming, agriculture, because of course AgroParisTech is dedicated to agribusiness, life science, etc. And the stake was to make it change. In fact, there are substantial changes to integrate at the same time social environmental elements and a reflection around what is accounting, what are the key debates today in accounting and the conception of firms and the governance of a business, etc. So the key points for this evolution were this one. I think I tried to summarize that. At the accounting level, it's to opening the black box. It means that the first point I mean is not just take accounting as a mere technique, And even from the point of view of ecological accounting, not trying to do a technical course. So the first element is to open black box, and so to go beyond the technique. In fact, trying to combine every day, in fact, and even tutorials, the accounting techniques, critical analysis, controversies in accounting, and the debates on the consequences on different types of accounting techniques. And so also to integrate reflection on alternative ways of doing things, including on financial things, including other viewpoint on financial accounting. At the ecological level, the key point is, according to me, to well, show some reference to integrate these issues. So show different types of accounting ecological system and discuss different ways of doing that. So have a discussion with students about that. Then to take diversified example. So for example, integrating ecological elements in classical accounting cases. So you have tutorials, and so the idea is to put some new elements in the classical cases, then to show example of ecological reporting themselves. So here it's mere ecological accounting, and discuss the way to combine financial accounting and ecological accounting. Other elements try to have discussion of the consequences and assumption behind this integration, and to try to connect what is done in ecological accounting and the combination between financial accounting and ecological accounting with ecological sciences. And last point, try to using current events. So for example, the reports, actualities in news, extra. So very briefly, in the example of this transformation of this course, so now what I do is the following thing. First of all, I try to introduce this course thanks to specific reports in CSR and in sustainable finance and sustainable accounting, like the report Nota Senar, or like the European report, which is the introduction for the European Action Plan for Sustainable Finance, which give key elements in the necessity to shift accounting standards from mere financial accounting to integrated accounting. Then I introduce general issue about the evolution of organization, about the shareholder vision, the governance, etc. And what is the place of accounting in this issue? So to open a big and key perspective on organization, on business, and the place of accounting in these issues. Then I try to generate a critical analysis of accounting standards from a geopolitical, socio-economic perspective, and in particular a critical analysis of IFRS. Thanks to that, I open the presentation of a technique, accounting technique, thanks to a particular analysis, an interpretation grid, which is accounting is based on problems of issues of representation, of accountability, responsibility, evaluation, and how to render accounts to whom. It's a problem of governance. And so to try to keep in mind this interpretation grid. So for example, I introduced the double entry technique, which is generally speaking presented as a mere technique, but I try to present it according the entity theory or the owner theory. So two ways to understand business activities, two ways also to interpret the main techniques, the main issues in business activity. So with the same technique, we have different interpretation and different organizational dynamics. So then I choose the entity theory, and so I explain why, and we have a discussion of this choice and the company's vision, which is conveyed by the choice. And on this basis, I have a presentation, technical presentation of the dynamics of accounts, plan of accounts on this basis. And thanks to that, I try to make students guess what could be the good account titles and how to translate different types of situation according the hypothesis of the entity theory of the way this type of accounting must or should represent situation. And thanks to that, we can arrive to a given situation like why, for example, wages are represented as a flow count in the account statement, so as an expense. And is it the good way to represent work-related issues? So we have a discussion on that. Then finally, I introduce regulation and standards in terms of ecological accounting like CSRD, ISSB, and a critical analysis of these standards with the presentation of critical issues on this question like double materiality, the problem of monetary or non-monetary valuation, the shareholder value or the entity, the shareholder vision or entity vision, extra. So it's for the lectures. Then now for the tutorials. There are 4 theoretical cases. First of all, in all the cases, I try to, first of all, familiarize the cases. It's very important. It can also, open the debate on this point. Then I include societal information. For example, in these cases, I introduce the notion of decent wage, the comparison between the conventional and organic farming prices, and so on. So integration of this type of societal issues in the cases. And I use also this example to explain controversies. For example, in the course of financial analysis, I use financial analysis to explain the social conflict at Air France, the real social conflict at Air France. In these cases, they are a case which is dedicated to technical inventory work, so which is, of course, very hard work and technical work. But in order to do that, I use 3 different perspectives: a shareholder vision, a classic managerial vision, and engineering vision. And so it leads to a discussion about the way to tackle the technical inventory work. And it leads to different results. It leads also on a debate on the treatment, for example, of employees. Here again, it's to open some black box on accounting and what is accounting, but it's perspective accounting and what we can do with accounting, in fact. Then the last case in the 4 theoretical cases is completely dedicated to the coupling between accounting and ecological issues. So it begins by a demonstration, proof that current accounting does not take into account GHG information, for example. And so it pretends to introduce several other non-monetary reporting accounting system to integrate environmental issues, and in particular GRI and the Swiss EcoPoint method. And so we have comparisons, so exercises to compare these 2 types of system, with a point on the types of indicators, the presence or not of scientific references, threshold, are there in simple of double materiality, etc. And finally, with this case, I also introduced the climate issue. I have focused on the climate issue through the debate on the integration of carbon allowances in accounting. So first of all, there is a discussion in tutorials about the relevance of this tool of the carbon allowances and carbon markets. And then we have a mere accounting discussion and accounting exercise about the representation and the valuation on this carbon allowance in the accounting standards today. So in fact, there are 2 ways to record this carbon allowance: as an intangible asset, intangible fixed asset, or as an inventory asset, so as an inventory. And this is the specific French view of the recording of carbon allowance. And these two ways to integrate carbon allowance have huge consequences on the representation of the links between business and climate issues. So we have a discussion exercise on this point. And thanks to that, and this is the last slide, it allows to the integration on the presentation of the notion of carbon budget, which is in fact actually present in the eco-points method, the Swiss eco-point methods. And thanks to the previously acquired knowledge, so the mere accounting techniques that we studied, the question is how to integrate climate on the basis on what we saw together into accounting standard. What can we do? What is possible? What are the consequences of an integration on an other? How to integrate into the double entry bookkeeping? Is it a good way and not a good way? How to count that extra? And so we finish the tutorial with this example. So thank you for attention.
And Alexandre, sorry, I realize that people are noticing that we didn't see the slides. So I don't know if it's be possible. Maybe
oh, sorry, it's not. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, so, I'm sorry.
But I mean, the time is over. But yeah, I was like listening to you, like so much focused on what you were saying that I thought like everybody was watching, seeing the slides, and it's not the case. So I don't know.
I can send you the slides, in fact.
Can you share them? Can we share?
Yes, I'm sorry. There was a problem with the share because my computer sent me that told me it was shared, and so I didn't realize it was not the case. So very sorry.
So thanks if you can send them, and we will share them with the participants.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Alexandre. Thank you very much.
I'm very sorry. Very sorry.
I should have told you, but I didn't. I was so much concentrating on what we were saying. So now we can hear maybe Nicolas. Nicolas, can you hear me? And
I can hear you. Can you see the slides?
We see the slides, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great.
Can you make it in 10 minutes?
I'm going to make it in 10 minutes, and I'm going to have a very hands-on approach to making your courses evolve. I have created and set up courses that are specialized in social and environmental accounting. But here, I'm going to show you how you can make foundation courses in accounting and in investment decisions evolve. And I will distinguish different levels of difficulty. So it's sometimes it can be like a very steep way to go. And so, you don't have to climb all the way to the top of the stairs to start with. One thing you can do is you can start next year reintroducing long forgotten accounting operations, the type of operations that I suppressed from my accounting curriculum 20 years ago. Return schemes, like when you return bottles and you get some money back, la consigne in French, and that sort of disappeared from my program and most of the program of other people. So reintroduce things that are needed today that accountants don't know how to do them anymore. I have seen that. And so that's the first thing you can do. You're going to provide the students with skills that are useful for tomorrow's economy. Second thing, it's about time we all started changing the examples that we use for our exercises. So that's the second level of difficulty, but something you can do. Instead of selling cars, or instead of having an exercise with a gasoline station or a flower shop that flies flowers from Kenya and sells them, have exercises that are based on the businesses of tomorrow's economy, rental shops, renovation companies, circular economy businesses, anything you want, but focus on providing examples of what the real world should look like tomorrow, even if it's an accounting exercise. So green level, blue level, we can all do that, I think. It's all within our reach. It's a bit of work, but we can do it. And then red level, we can start developing our students' critical thinking abilities. And we already do that in a way, because I remember the first accounting courses that I taught, I told my students, accounting doesn't tell you everything. You're in the company and everybody is tired and the employees are about to go on strike. Is that going to show up in the company's account? No. And will it have an impact on the company's value? Yes. So there's something about what accounting does, which is very limited, and it has a very limited way of showing value. So you can say, okay, the people are going to go on strike, but then you can say, hey, you have taken water from the river and it's free of charge. Does it show up in your accounts? No. Does it have value? Yes. Are there consequences to taking too much water out of the river? Yes. Can you see it in accounting? No. And so be very practical, be very hands-on, but have examples that can develop the students' critical thinking abilities about exactly what is conveyed by accounting figures and what is recorded in the accounts and what is not recorded in the accounts. And there are plenty of examples with which you can sort of show the students that accounting is simply a number of documents that you have, and these documents like bills and invoices, pay slips, are very limited in what they mean. You simply record them and you sort of, record immediate financial effects based on transactions. And most of the things that the company depends on to exist are not recorded in the accounts. And then if you want to take it to the black belt level, you can start introducing carbon accounting. On most, this is an example, I'm going to scan it and I'm going to use it but on most bills today, at least for transport companies, and this is a bill for a computer, and I have the carbon balance of every piece of computer equipment there. You can show students that now on accounting invoices, there's plenty more than just euros or dollars. And in some cases, you could automate carbon accounting. Let them see the potential of that. Try to make them see, with a set of T accounts, maybe what would be on one side accounting in euros and on the other side accounting in carbon. Takes a bit of time, but that's why I put it at the black belt level. So that's, practical tips, and I can share the slides with you later, but you can work in, if you're not ready for the black level or the red level, start with the green one and the blue one. That would be my advice. And then sort of grow yourself in your own knowledge and develop your own knowledge, and then you can reach the higher levels. I would have the same type of advice for a course on investment decision. Don't go all the way up the staircase the first year. Take your time. Maybe the green level would be to present the EU taxonomy. The EU taxonomy classifies economic activities that have an impact on greenhouse on global warming, and show how the classification of activities in categories, whether they are green or not green, can have an impact on the cost of capital when you make an investment decision. And therefore, if it has an impact on the cost of capital, it will have an impact on the discount rate. And so the project, if it's not aligned with the EU taxonomy, might be more risky, less profitable. Discuss the idea that at the level of the business, you could do the same. You could judge how an investment is aligned, not with the taxonomy, but with the company's ESG strategy or corporate social responsibility strategy. You could have the classical investment decision table, and then you could have a CSR score, and then you could compare the two, how the investment is aligned or not with the strategy. And then that can be just taken up all the way to the company's top executives, and they have to discuss it. That's a green level. Blue level, again, change the examples you use for your exercises. There's plenty of businesses you can explore: solar panel manufacturing, organic agriculture, water recycling. We need to build more railroads and we need to build more trains. This is the type of investment decisions that you should have your students look at. Introduce them to tomorrow's world through your exercises. Red level, you might want to introduce life cycle costing concepts. They already exist. The first industries which practice life cycle costing are the defense industries. There's never enough sophistication when you produce something that is meant to kill other people. But actually, they cost the build phase, the use phase, and even the end of life phase. As a young consultant, I actually did life cycle costing for the French Direction Générale de l'Armement. That was, when I was young, the most exotic thing I was required to do. But then it works for buildings, it works for other things, and show how you can actually benefit from eco-design. If your products are eco-designs, they will be cheaper to use for your customers. Try to show how you can even market that if you do life cycle costing. And try to examine what are the obstacles to developing more life cycle costing, short-term thinking, and who thinks short-term, and so on and so forth. And the black level would be try to debate with the student what value creation means. You know, make the students analyze the type of natural capital that a business will depend on, and the type of natural capital it would have an impact on. And what is exactly value creation? If you own the last water table in the world for drinking water, it will have an infinite value from a financial point of view, because you'll have a monopoly. You'll make heaps of money out of it, but that's not the right way to represent it. And so criticize the way value is appraised and try to do that through examples. And basically, since we have 10 minutes, I wanted to provide very quick practical advice that you could use yourself, develop, and that's it. And I can share the slides. I can put them in the chat and we can download them, of course.
Well, thank you very much, Nicolas. Thank you, Alexandre, and Nicolas for sharing the presentation. You can download them into the discussion side. Unfortunately, we don't have much time, but we may have time for one question. So if any one of you wants to ask a question, it's time to do it now.
Yeah, yes, please. If I may, hello. This kind of courses that we are talking about, I mean, is it mainly for bachelor degrees or master level? Because when you are talking to discuss with students and so on, in the bachelor level, do they really have all of the information and the maturity to discuss such a thing? Or will it be too early and it's better to integrate it in the master level?
I can take that question if you want. Ideally, there you can see that the proposals I make there are different levels of maturity. If you teach a bachelor's course, you may be happy with the green and blue levels to start with. And if you have the sort of last year of the bachelor's course, people that are already a bit advanced, or a master's degree course, you can introduce the red level and even the black level for advanced audit students. So I would say if you have master's degree students, you can include all the 4 levels. If you have bachelor degree students, you may include only some of the levels. I don't know whether that helps as an answer.
Yes, a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and sorry for being so short. So just to let you know, I understand that it could be a bit frustrating. So we are going to create a mail loop after the event. So people who want to be involved in this mail loop, and this loop is going to be dedicated to the accounting and management control discipline. So if you are interested in joining this mail loop, please email me. And I will make sure you join this loop. All the material and the link to the video recording is going to be sent to you anyway, that you participate to the loop or not. I want to thank you, thank a lot, Nicolas and Alexandre for this presentation. And
you have the slides as a PDF on the chat.
And the content. Some of you have been registered to a small group workshop with Alexandre and Nicolas. About 15 or 16 of you have been registered. Sorry for the others, because there were too much demand, so we couldn't accommodate everybody, and we wanted to keep it small so people can really interact with Nicolas and Alexandre. So for the ones who are registered to this small group, you should have received a connection linked. If it's not the case, let me know. So it's time to go there and to check in the room dedicated to accounting and management control. For the others who are not registered to this small group interaction workshop, sorry, and I'll make sure to register you into the mail loop, the email loop that we'll create after. And the purpose of this loop is to like a network, to have a network of people who have the same, working on the same discipline and who have also an interest in integrating better ecological issues. So you can exchange between yourselves. So thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you, Nicolas and Alexandre. I'll meet you again at the other link.